It's been a pretty wet summer in Connecticut, and that means more mosquitoes than ever. If you didn't have your home serviced for mosquito control and find you're spending most of your time outside swatting those little pests, you are in luck. Mosquito Shield of Central Connecticut provides the best value in mosquito control services because of how they treat your yard using the Mosquito Shield tailored treatment system. They don't use a fixed schedule or an identical product, one-size-fits-all service program, because you can't control mosquitoes on a set number of sprays or visits. Unlike the competition, Mosquito Shield of Central Connecticut will service you for the season, whatever it takes to provide superior results. This promise has awarded them an industry-leading consumer retention rating of 90%. Visit MosquitoShieldCT.com to schedule an appointment with Wade DeCesare and enjoy the rest of your summer mosquito-free.
Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
Can you believe it?
It hasn't happened at Fenway Park for 95 years.
Fires. Swing and a miss. Strike three. It's over. The Red Sox have won the world championship.
Tune in to the newest show presented by Clovercrest Media. It's OB's Backstop Podcast. Catch it twice a week, every Red Sox series finale on your favorite podcast platform.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser along here with Justin D'Onofrio, and it was a sad night for the Yankees. A tough loss. Their season ends. Their 2021 season ends in the AL wildcard game. They lose 6-2 to the Red Sox last night. And obviously the biggest story was Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole was absolutely terrible. You're getting paid $30 million a year. You cannot have that start. That is just flat out inexcusable. An absolutely terrible performance by Garrett Cole. And as Yankee fans, I didn't want to say yesterday when I was on the roll call, I saw it coming because he pitched well against the Red Sox in his previous start when he pitched at Fenway Park about a couple weeks ago. But you saw when he came back against the Indians, he didn't pitch well. You saw when he pitched against the Blue Jays, he didn't pitch well. In September, Garrett Cole just didn't pitch well, and that carried over to last night, and he was absolutely terrible. After that home run he gave up to Xander Bogaerts, that 2-run homer in the first, then obviously he gives up the home run to Schwarber in the third. He doesn't get out of the third inning. He gets pulled there, and it just was a really rough night for the Yankees. It all started when you thought the Yankees were going to go up 1-0. Giancarlo Stanton hit that ball right, and it hit right off the green monster, and that just set the tone for the entire night. As the Red Sox, the Red Sox won. Nathan Eovaldi was outstanding. He was great last night. I mean, the Yankees actually got a break in the sixth inning. I was like, when they pulled, when Judge had the infield hit and they pulled Eovaldi, I'm like, what was Cora doing? But of course, Stanton gets another huge hit, and then Phil Nevin just bails him out. There is no reason at all Judge should have been sent there. Absolutely not. That destroyed that rally. Then, and of course, Joey Gallo gets out. He pops out. What a massive disappointment he was since we picked him up. The only good moments for Joey Gallo was when I was at the game. We hit those two, where he hit a couple big home runs. That's it. Joey Gallo was not productive for the Yankees at all since they picked him up from the trade deadline, and just a brutal loss. I mean, the Red Sox, they hit the ball better. Eovaldi completely outpitched Garrett Cole, and they deserve to win, and they deserve to advance. Justin, your thoughts on last night?
Yeah, it was a tough one. And, yeah, again, that first inning kind of turned 2 outs. Yankees top of first inning, that ball could have been 1-0. And then you think about it, the 2-out walk to Devers, and Bogaerts comes up, that hits a 2-run bomb, and, you had 2 outs, nobody on, and, hoping to get out of that inning, no score, but, unfortunately, couldn't. And, it's unfortunate. And I wonder, too, because Cole, I know he went, 6 innings. I know we kind of got hit a little bit in that 6th inning, but I wonder if his hamstring's still bugging him because his command since coming back, and I know hasn't been great. So I wonder if that's still a factor.
Yeah.
I'm not,
I didn't really see that much of that game where he pitched against the Red Sox when they won that game 8-3. How was he that night? Was it the same? Did he still have the same issues? The Red Sox just didn't capitalize against him that night.
Yeah, he shut him down for the most part. It was like the second, third time around, they kind of started to get to him. I gotta go back to the strikeout number because I think it really helped the Yankees to go up 3-0.
Yeah,
and he kind of was just kind of on cruise control. So I think he had 3 walks too that night, which is rare. He had only 6 strikeouts. So I think the Red Sox did hit. I think the Red Sox had a bunch of line drives, but just kind of right at people. Like I think they did hit him pretty hard. But he was I think he had some fortune there until like the 5th, 6th inning, and they started to get to him.
But the big thing was he just didn't pitch well in September. That was the biggest thing.
No.
And when you're paying an ace that much money, he has to show up, and he did not show up at all last night. And the thing that I'm thinking about when he gets pulled, I'm thinking even if the Yankees come back and win this game, they're going to have a really hard time beating the Rays if Cole pitches this way. And listen, last night the Yankees deserve to have their season end last night. I mean, that the offense outside of Judge and Stan were absolutely terrible. I mean, Gleyber Torres was awful. Joey Gallo was pathetic. Rizzo. I'll give it to Rizzo. He did it the home run. So I'll give Rizzo, Judge, and Stanton. The offense was absolutely terrible. I mean, Gardner, thank you for all the years, but you got to go. I mean, the one mistake Boone made last night was the fact that Higashioka had a bat in his hands in the 5th inning. He should have been out of that game in the 5th inning. But even Sanchez, I mean, Joe's got to stop saying he's the best catcher in baseball. He had a decent year. I'll give him that, but he's not on Salvatore Perez's level, that's for sure. Because ever since Aaron Boone has taken over, he just has not been a great player at all. Gio Urshela underperformed this year, and even though DJ LeMay was awful last night, and even though DJ LeMay was hurt, he underperformed this year. So, I got a comment from Xander. Underperformed or underperformed. The Yankees just underperformed all season long, and that was the story. The reason the Yankees did not win 100 games because their offense, just outside of Judge and Stanton, their offense was not good. This was a team that finished 23rd in runs scored, and that team showed up last night.
Yeah, they did. It's definitely an underperformed. This was a team that was supposed to win the American League by a long shot. They were the big favorites. You win 91 games, and look, give all the credit to Rays. They won 100 games. They deserve to win that division. They deserve to be the 1 seed right now, but it's unacceptable. This lineup this year was just. It was okay at best, and Judge and Stan were about it. Like the scary thing is, it's LeMay's got 5 years left, and he's not really a hitter that we thought was because the type of hitter he is. You didn't think that age would really catch up to him because the way
and we got a comment from Xander. 11-8 against the O's is what killed us. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the reason why we weren't hosting that game. And I mean. You look back at series, early in the season, we lost 2 out of 3 to them in April, lost 2 out of 3 to them in September, which was absolutely inexcusable. Yeah, that really, really hurt us. And yeah, as we were talking about LeMahieu, 5 years left on that contract, but I'm not looking forward to it. Hitting under 300 with only 10 home runs, I'm not looking forward to that contract.
No, I'm not either. But yeah, you lose the Orioles 8 times, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. That's got to be the most. The Orioles have been a team this year. That has to be.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You don't deserve to be in the playoffs. You really don't. So you win about 6 of those. You're hosting a wild card, and then you blew 5 or 6 big leagues in the 9th inning. You blew that 8th inning game to the Red Sox. You gave up 5 runs. Herman has a no hitter, but.
Great comment by Xander. Rays went 18-1 against the O's. Yeah, the Rays beat the teams they had to beat. They beat the O's. They were very good in the AL East. I mean, you look at the Yankees. This team had a high ceiling if they beat the Red Sox last night because of their success against the White Sox and the Astros. They did really good against the White Sox and Astros. The problem is they were not good at all in the AL East. Not good at all. They had a losing record against the Red Sox, losing record against the Rays, losing record against the Blue Jays, and let's say when you're 11-8 against the Orioles, you could almost consider that a losing record against the Orioles.
No, absolutely, yeah. The Yankees usually take care of business in the AL East. That's kind of been one of their things, but yeah, this year for whatever reason. Now, part of it is the Rays have caught up to them. The Rays have figured out what the Yankees cannot do very well. With all the right-handed pitchers that they got that throw 100, it has really stifled the Yankees the last few years. So the Rays have kind of figured them out. the Red Sox, again, like, you won the last 7 games going up until last night. Like, you started to kind of have their number. But yeah, last night, Eovaldi has pitched well besides that Friday night game where his splitter was hanging over the plate, and the Yankees kind of were able to take advantage of everything. And yeah, and then going back to the underperformed or overperformed, and you think about it too, Girardi, and I know there was a bunch of other issues. Girardi got fired too, and that team was an overachiever. They get
Girardi should have never been fired. That was one of the biggest mistakes Brian Cashman ever made, was firing Joe Girardi. That was a terrible move because it's obvious that Joe Girardi is clearly a better manager than Aaron Boone. And yes, I don't blame Boone for last night. What I blame Boone for is the way the team underperformed, especially the first 4 months of the season. And you can't just get rid of all the players. As we said all year, we've talked about the Yankees all year. You can't get rid of all the players. You got to change the manager if the team is underperforming. And that's why I think Aaron Boone should be fired.
Yeah, absolutely. He should. It was totally underperformed. And then it's like, the mentality too is just I don't like the nice guy act every night. It doesn't work. And this team needed somebody too that was going to kind of get in their face after a losing streak. And Boone's not that guy. Obviously, Girardi is the right guy. I actually work with a guy who's a Phillies fan. He wants to get rid of Girardi. So
stop it. That's
they don't like
your team hasn't made the playoffs in 10 years. Okay, your team has been garbage for a decade. I don't know why you're just trying to blame anything. Stop with that. Girardi's a really good manager.
I know it. They had a chance. They kind of blew it against the Braves last week, but so I just I think this whole pay on the staff needs to like Nevin. I don't know if you saw this stat too. The Yankees got thrown out the most times to play 22 times. They were tied with the Royals for the most in baseball. So.
Nevin and Boone gone. At least Nevin. Yeah. I want Nevin gone. That was terrible last night. That is inexcusable. You can't get thrown out with 1 out in the 6th inning when you're down by 2 runs by 10 feet. And it was out by a mile. It was out by 10 feet. That's inexcusable. He's got to be fired. Phil Nevin. Get rid of him immediately. I want him gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I wouldn't even mind having Marcus Timms gone too. I don't blame it all on the hitting coach. Yeah,
Marcus Timms, yes, get him out of here too. It all starts at the top. George would come visit the pitcher before a big game like this, and no one on the Yanks front office would hold. No. That's a perfect comment. And that showed you why the Yankees right now are not a top organization. They're not the Rays. They're not the Astros. They're not the Dodgers. They're not that top-tier organization anymore. And it starts with the front office. They accept this. I guarantee you they're going to get Boone a new contract because of that 13-game winning streak he had in August. They're going to fall in love with that 13-game winning streak, and they're going to give Aaron Boone a new contract and still think, winning 92 games when you're supposed to win winning 92 games, losing in the wild card game is acceptable. That's the problem. The front office just accepts, that this team, doesn't come close to getting to a World Series, and it's just been. If George was George of the 80s, the early 80s, Aaron Boone would have been fired after year 1. If George was around, Aaron Boone would be fired by now. He would have been fired right after the game. The problem is it's just the expectation. They are content being a second-tier organization. They're not content. They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are even close to the best organization in baseball. I'll take the Rays. I'll take the Astros. I'll take the Dodgers. I'll take the Cardinals. I'll take those organizations any day of the week over the Yankees right now. It's just being second tier, losing in the division, in the ALDS, losing in the wild card game, losing the ALCS. That's became accepted. As long as we make the playoffs, we're okay. That's the standard they've set. And if they don't fire Aaron Boone, it's obvious that's a standard they've set.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree with you because, the Red Sox now have knocked you out 3 times since 2004. So pretty much since 2003, they've kind of owned you. They've turned this whole thing around. It's lopsided. Boston's dominated this rivalry since 2003. And, and if this organization, does not – if they bring back Boone, again – you saw at the beginning, right when they started, really allowing fans back. Fans weren't interested. Again, everybody wants Boone out. What is this telling the rest of the fan? It's exactly telling the fan base that we're okay winning 92 games and they knocked out by our arch rival Boston or Tampa Bay. That's what it's telling us. And that should not stand to the New York Yankees. Steinbrenner, George has to be turned over in his grave if Boone comes back. That's what it is. It's just we're okay with mediocrity. And I know 92 wins is pretty good for most teams, but for the Yankees, it's unacceptable. It really is. And
the Yankees have kind of turned into the Cowboys of Major League Baseball. They're the Cowboys. The Cowboys are everybody says the Cowboys have all these Super Bowl expectations and everything. They don't. Jerry Jones is okay with losing in the divisional round. He's been the GM for 25 years and hasn't got to the conference championship game. Their standard is not to win a Super Bowl. All they want to do is win divisions. They talk about winning the Super Bowl, but they're okay with losing in the divisional round. They're fine with their ceiling being in the divisional round. The Yankees are fine with their ceiling at best being in the ALCS. They're fine with that. They don't care about not winning World Series. George Steinbrenner, I know the expectations were always high when Steinbrenner was around, but it used to be World Series or bust. To me, this front office does not, run this team like it's World Series or bust at all.
No, absolutely not. And it's sad. And I know he wants no part, and I know Hal doesn't want to be George, but he's got to get a little bit of George Steinbrenner in him. He has to. Because they're not the only owner. I know he's got other shareholders or whatever you want to call them, that do own a stake in the team. They can't be too happy either. You do have a little piece of the share, and it's why aren't we winning here? Again, Tampa Bay, $60 million payroll, and they've been the better team the last few years than you. And you're still up there at $207 million, and you still cannot figure them out and not find a way to knock them off. It's embarrassing. It really is. And I don't know if you saw Boone's comments last night about the rest of the league gets caught up to us. Dude, can somebody please tell it's not 2003 anymore?
Oh, God. The rest of the league's caught up to us. The rest of the league caught up to you in 2002. The rest of the league caught up to you in 2002. I mean, are you kidding me? Yeah. It just that was a horrible answer. But it made no sense. By 03 and 04, the Red Sox were there. And after that, you haven't been dominant. Yeah, you won a championship in 2009, but anybody could win one championship out of nowhere. Anybody could win one championship. But you stop it with that comment was horrible from Aaron Boone last night.
Yeah, it was.
And then, of course, Hal said he doesn't want to be an a-hole like his father was. Hey,
which I get, but
being stupid. Hey, stupid being an a-hole won us a champion. Yeah, George Steinbrenner, he demanded championships. This organization doesn't demand this. I'm telling you, if this was the Rays, this was the Dodgers, this was the Astros, they would fire Aaron Boone immediately. If they had this disappointing of a season, they would fire Aaron Boone immediately. I mean, I remember 5-6 years ago when the Dodgers Don Mattingly got the Dodgers to the playoffs 3 years in a row. They couldn't get over that hump, couldn't get to the World Series. See ya, goodbye. We're getting rid of you. We're getting Dave Roberts in there. The Yankees don't operate that way. They don't operate that way. Everybody says, "Oh, the Yankees fire managers a lot." No, they've only had 3 managers in my lifetime: Joe Torre, Joe Girardi, and Aaron Boone. And Girardi lasted 10 years. The funny thing with Girardi is they probably should have fired him before that 2017 season. It didn't make any sense to fire him in the 2017 season. And another comment from Hector: Boone does need to go. Billy Martin was fired after one season for totally different circumstance. But yeah, the old George Steinbrenner would not. He would have been fired in the middle. I mean, he would have been fired. He wouldn't even got past 18. The old George Steinbrenner. But there's no way Aaron Boone should be the manager of this team next year. Or as I've said, you're setting a standard that you're a second-tier organization if you keep Aaron Boone as your manager. You're okay with losing in the wild card game. You're okay with that. That's the standard you've set.
Yeah, absolutely. Because look, I said it, but the Red Sox knocked you off three times in this postseason. What is it going to take to change things around here? The Red Sox have been your punching bag in the playoffs lately. Again, last time in 18, they came in here game 3 and put up 16 runs on you.
You've been you've been the Astros punching bag. You've been the Red Sox punching bag in the playoffs. We're so tired of it as Yankee fans.
Yeah, and actually, Jason's
we got breaking news. We are going to get to that. Gilmore was the Patriots traded Gilmore to the Panthers. We're going to get to that, after we talk baseball. So we will get to that. Everyone, hang on. We will get to that. Breaking news there. But yeah, back to the Yankees. It's just Boone has got to go. And the thing is I could live with 2017. Losing in the ALCS, which came out of nowhere with Judge and Sanchez losing in that ALCS. Great year. Even 2018. They lost to a Red Sox team. They lost in 4, but they lost to a Red Sox team that won the World Series. 2019, when they had all the injuries, when Judge and Stanton missed all that time, they got to the ALCS. I could live with that. But last year, you could kind of live with it because the Rays got to the World Series. But this year, you can't live with this because I don't think this Red Sox team is going to beat Tampa. I don't think this Red Sox team is a great team that you lost to. So it's very, very hard for a Yankee fan to live with what happened last night.
No, absolutely. It is. It's I had to do the game last night for the Red Sox. So for me, it was miserable. And that felt like that game lasted an eternity. So, yeah, it's embarrassing. Look, last year, too, you think about – I know there was injuries and all that, but they were, 8 games over 500 last year, too? Like, I know it was only 60 games, but still, like, they were mediocre last year. They were pretty mediocre last year. Like, look, I know – and I felt for some of the hope. They're in that 13-game winning streak. Yeah, maybe this team does have a shot at winning the World Series. This team never had a shot. And I keep falling for it every time they have a run. This I don't think this – the way they are built – and I know the playoffs are. It's like it's a crapshoot. I understand, but I don't think this. I don't think this lineup could ever do enough to get over the hump. I don't think they have the pitching right now. Like I don't think that this team that they have is gonna ever get there. And I know you can't redo the whole thing. I know you can't get rid of everybody. I know it's not possible, but they got to figure out a way to get a couple other guys who can get a couple contact hitters because look, last year, yeah, you beat up on you played well against the Indians, but the Indians really didn't play anybody. The whole division was not great outside of them and the White Sox. The Red Sox are not a good team.
They're a good team. They're not a great team. They're a good team this year. Not a great team. They're not the team they were in 2018.
Yeah, they're not a good team, but or they're a good team, but. Yeah, they're a team that was like retooling. It was a team that wasn't supposed to be there. They got there, and I see Sanders' comment. Yankees.
I don't think I don't think they need another ace caliber.
I think they
ace caliber pitcher.
Good too.
I think they need a decent number 2. I think the problem is what's in the dugout. They got to stop with the analytics nonsense. They got to go to a more old school approach like the Astros and the White Sox did, and they need to have a manager that cares about the human that focus on the human element and not analytics. They need to change the manager. I don't think it's, I don't get rid of Cashman. I get rid of the manager. I don't think I think they do need another number 2. That's a good point because, Montgomery, you don't completely trust in the playoff Montgomery, Kluber can't stay healthy. Cortez, Severino's coming off Tommy John. So yeah, I think they need a solid number 2. Yeah, you maybe hope.
I guess you hope.
Yeah, but I think the biggest issue is they got to get rid of Boone. Boone's the biggest issue right now, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And I know Hal loves the analytics, which, again, scares me. And I know Cashman's all into it, too. And, yeah, that's the scary part because I'm with you. I cannot stand analytics because you're trying to be the Rays. And the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankee. Like, I get some of the numbers, but to go full on analytics like they do, it bothers me. And I know I've said this multiple times, but it just doesn't make any sense that we have to try to play baseball like the Tampa Bay Rays. With the $210 million payroll, I don't get it. And I do not like it. Again, I hope, Severino could kind of be that second, because again, we've seen times he kind of looks like an ace, a couple years ago. You hope injuries, he can stay healthy. I think it hurt too that they.
That's the problem. Is trouble staying healthy. You can't rely on him. You can't rely on Kluber. So yeah, a number 2 would be solid. But the main thing is the dugout. I mean, and another point by Xander. I mean, like a rotation that Washington had a few. Yeah, with Scherzer and Strasburg. Yeah, no, I get it. The Yankees. Mm-hmm. I would like to see another ace in there. But I do think this team is good enough to win a championship, even with the management change. I think the management change, number 1. Number 2, maybe get another bat, and then maybe get another starter. That could definitely be the priority. I think a big priority for the season is definitely got to lock Judge up long term, and I think you re-sign Anthony Rizzo. I think those are your 2 big priorities. You fire Boone, number 1. You re-sign Rizzo and Judge, and then maybe look for another starter. That's what I would do moving forward with the Yankees.
Yeah, new manager. I'm with you. I hope it's not another puppet, but I have a bad feeling about that. So, again, I guess manager may not make a huge difference. Who knows? Can't get any worse than Boone. But, yeah, I think you got to pay Aaron Judge what he wants here. Now, very interesting. I'll say this quickly. One of the Red Sox broadcasters he's talking about, it was like a week ago when they were in Washington. So he's from D.C. and knows a bunch of guys that work for the Nationals front office. He was saying probably not this offseason, but next offseason, they don't think that they're going to be able to sign Juan Soto. And it sounds like the Yankees would be the favorite. They do put him on the market next offseason.
I mean, the Nationals would be fools if they don't sign Juan Soto. He should be their franchise player going forward. If the Nationals are doing that, then I don't know. Then their GM should be fired immediately if they don't sign Juan Soto. He's your guy going forward. You didn't resign. If you're going to go in a complete rebuild mode. I don't get it all signing Juan Soto. I think the big reason why you traded Turner and you traded Scherzer was to open up payroll to make your team better and build your team around Juan Soto. The Nationals should never trade Juan Soto.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, but they sounded like they were saying like they don't think they're going to be able to. They're not going to be able to re-sign him for whatever reason. And I thought, some of it could be cash, but I know like the projection is he's going to get it like over $500 million. But I don't know if the Nationals would pay that because he's 22 still and he's been in the league already for 3, so he'll be like 25, 26. But that was a rumor. I thought too if he brought that up, there has to be some truth to it. But yeah, I'm not totally who knows. That would be a great addition, but I know that could be a year away. But yeah, you got to get Judge. I wouldn't mind Rizzo back. I think that would mean the end of Luke Voit. Because I think Rizzo, after he got back from COVID, he was never really the same guy. And I know it took a lot out of him. But I think it was big to have him in between, Stanton and Judge. And that was a huge key of how they beat the Red Sox that Saturday. You had the, Core bringing in Darwin Hernandez as the lefty. And, the Yankees kind of took advantage of it. So,
yeah,
a couple other small moves, but, I still don't, until they really reshape this lineup, they get some guys that could actually get on base because I think Torres and Sanchez are broken, and I don't think they're ever going to return to what they are or what they were before. I just think they're too broken.
I think Sanchez had a decent year. I think you keep Sanchez. Yeah. Torres, I think you give him one more year, and then you probably get rid of him if he doesn't have another good year. But we got a comment from Hector. What about bringing back Buck Showalter? And I'm not opposed to it. I really am not opposed to bringing back Buck Showalter because this isn't football. This is baseball. It's not a game where there's a ton of strategy. There's not a ton of strategy in baseball. I'm sorry to tell you that. This isn't football. You saw what the White Sox did with Tony La Russa. He becomes the manager. They had a talented team. They're in the playoffs. They win the division. He hadn't managed in 10 years since the Cardinals won the World Series, and they win the division. Look at Dusty Baker with the Astros. He comes in there, gets them to the ALCS last year, and then they win the division again. So I'm not opposed to bringing in Buck Showalter. I think it'd be a more old school approach, and it'd be an approach I would take right now. I'd take Buck Showalter over Aaron Boone.
Oh, I'd take that any day of the week. I like Buck. That worries me. Bring back Sander with the bring back Joe. I'd be fine with Joe Girardi as well. Or Torre.
Does he mean Torre or Girardi? You got to specify that. You should Torre or Girardi.
I'd be fine with either two as well. I'd be fine with either one of those three, but
it's crazy to say. Honestly, this might be crazy. If Tony La Russa could get back in the dugout, I think Joe Torre could get back in the dugout. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What's he? I think Torre's working with the umpires now.
Yeah. I don't know if he wants to come back.
It's possible. It's very possible. I would love to see Joe Torre come back. I just, again, I don't think it'd be interesting what his take is on this new analytical stuff. But Buck, I would see if somebody gave him a line of card, I think he'd shove it back to him and say, I'm filling it out. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they need.
That's what the Yankees need. But we got to get on to the team that won yesterday, and that's the Red Sox. And they face the Tampa Bay Rays. This is going to be a really, really good. It should be a good series. I think the Rays are clearly the better team, though. I do give the Red Sox a chance because of the Rays. Because of the lack of depth in the Rays rotation. Obviously, Tyler Glasnow is out for the year. McClanahan, he's their best starter. But really, outside of that, the Rays don't really have much starting pitching. I think they're kind of carried by their lineup. They traded Willie Adames. They brought up Wander Franco, got Nelson Cruz. Austin Meadows and Brandon Lau have had really good years. They got some power. Obviously, you got Joey Wendell. You got Mike Zunino, who's got power too. You have a really, really good lineup in Tampa Bay and a great bullpen too. So I think this is a series where I think Tampa wins the first one. I think Tampa wins the second one too. Maybe Eovaldi comes back on Sunday, wins game 3 for the Sox at home. But I give the Red Sox one game in the series. They're going to need JD Martinez. If if JD Martinez isn't in that lineup, they're not going to win this series. Because last night, even though they won, I don't want to be a hater because I'm a Yankee fan, but they had a chance to break that game open. They had first and second. I hope Boston gets wrecked. It's tough. It's tough for me there. It's tough for me because I don't like Tampa either. So, but I do hope the Rays win. But I'm not. Well, I don't want the Rays to win really bad because I don't like them either. But I think JD Martinez is such a key to be in this lineup because you saw last night with the Red Sox, they had first and second, nobody out in the third inning, grounded to a double play. Had first and second, one out with the score 4-1. Didn't score. So they still left some runs out there last night, and they can't do that against Tampa because Tampa's definitely a better offensive team than the Yankees. So I think that this is going to be a really competitive series, but I got the Rays winning it in 4 and getting to the ALCS for the second year in a row. But Justin, what can Boston compete and even beat Tampa and get to the ALCS?
I think it's very unlikely, but I think they have a chance. I think, again, everyone kind of, the Rays, 1 seed, they don't have a ton, the depth of the rotation's not there without Glasnow. I know they brought back Chris Archer, but he hasn't been healthy. But it's like, for the Rays, it's like nobody expects them to win. Like, like they lose. It's like, okay, you lost to Boston. Like, nobody expects you guys to win.
I think there's pressure on them to win this series. After winning 100 games, there's pressure on them to win this series against the Red Sox. I think there's some pressure there.
I could see for this series, yes, but like it's still like, okay, I know they're the better team than Boston, but it's like, okay, you lost to a bigger Boston market team, bigger market, you didn't have Glasnow, you didn't have your aces, so like I feel like the Rays they don't have ever, there's some pressure, but there's not like a lot because nobody expects them to ever win, and here they are with 100 wins yet again, and like Brandon Lau, the guy, 99 RBIs. Like he's 100, like he's a decent player, but nobody thought he was gonna have 100 RBIs. Mike Zedino has 33 home runs and 62 RBIs. Like they just have so much power. I know they strike out a lot, but I know that a couple veteran guys that Shane Baez. He was the third piece of that Tyler. In the Chris Archer trade. Yeah, the Rays have won that trade big time. So.
And Xander's Rays are pressure at the World Series. They definitely have pressure, and I agree with them, especially this series. I think if they lose to the White Sox or the Astros, because those teams are really good, I think I think that would be a really successful season for them getting to the ALCS after what they lost too. They didn't have Glasnow, and they lost, and they don't have, and they traded Snell. And they don't have Morton either. So they lost 3 of their top starting pitchers and still won 100 games. So if they get to the win 100 games, get to the ALCS, that's a very successful season.
It absolutely is for them, for the payroll that they're on and for the guys that they kind of brought up and fill in. It is, because they either lose to, Houston or Chicago. Yeah, those are 2 really good teams. But yeah, I think the Rays too in the back in the bullpen. I think find a way. They're supposed to get Nick Anderson back too tomorrow, which again he was one of their top relievers last year. So you get him back. Who hasn't pitched most of the year, but you can get him back, and I think that's a big help for late inning game or for late innings. I think it's going to be huge to have him back. So I think the Rays, because Brian Brazier has been good, but that's really been about it. You can't really rely on too many other guys in the back of the Red Sox in the bullpen right now. So I think the Rays are going to be able to get some late inning outs. Yeah, Martinez, it sounded like a really bad – it sounds like he's doubtful for Thursday, so he may not be ready for another
And I think
week,
if he's doubtful against McClanahan, who is the Rays' best pitcher, that's going to – I think the Sox – that's going to be a tough one because the Sox haven't even announced a starter. Do you know what direction – did they say last night what direction they're going in for Thursday in terms of a starter?
They're talking Sale, Erod, and then Evaldi Sunday.
Okay,
the first 3.
And I think with Sale against McClanahan, the Sox do have a chance in that game, but we know Sale didn't pitch well on Sunday against the Nationals.
Yeah, no, he didn't. So I don't know if he wasn't great, which is surprising. It's a kind of weaker national lineup, but you hope he comes back Thursday, pitches well against the Rays team, but because he really hasn't faced a big lineup yet. Like, they kind of fed him off like the O's a couple times. I think he faced the Mets, maybe the Rangers. Like I think the Rangers too he faced. Like he hasn't really faced a lineup like he's going to face in Tampa Bay yet. So it'll be interesting how he does. But again, it's Chris Sale in the postseason. Usually he pitches very, very well. And I think Pivetta goes Tuesday. So I wonder if they'll do like 4 or 5 innings of Sale and maybe they throw Pivetta for a couple innings. If that's the case, for the game 4, because he's, I think they may use him out of the bullpen if they can. So I could see a combination like that Thursday night. Pivetta was on his last start. It's really all the curveball. If his curveball's working, he's getting swings and misses, he's great. If it's sitting over the heart of the plate, he gets crushed. So if his curveball's on, he's usually pretty good.
I think the biggest difference in this series is going to be, I think the lineup's going to be a difference now if JD doesn't play. I do think the Sox have the better rotation with Eovaldi and Sale. I think that's the one advantage they have. But I think the major disadvantage the Sox have in this series is the bullpen. I think because they're not facing the Yankees lineup they're not facing the Yankees lineup in this series. Tampa Bay's lineup, Yankees lineup was 23rd in runs scored. Ray's lineup was top 5 in runs scored. So I think the major issue is going to be the bullpen. I think the bullpen we saw it late in the season with the Sox, and we saw the Chaim Bloom failing to upgrade that bullpen at the trade deadline. I think that's what's going to come back to haunt him is failing to upgrade that bullpen. I think that's going to be the biggest difference in the series. Is going to be the Rays bullpen versus the Red Sox bullpen. That's definitely why I think the Rays win this series in 4.
Yeah, I think so too. I know actually, I forgot too, Hansel Reyes hasn't given up a run since August 29th. So he's been really good of late too. But yeah, if they get Nick Anderson back, with the rest of the pieces they have in that back end of the bullpen, Fairbanks, even like Colin McHugh this year has been good. Like his ERA is under 2. Like he kind of came out of nowhere. Like guys like I know they got David Robertson lately, or like a month ago. He hasn't been horrible either, but yeah, Andrew Kittredge. So yeah, like the Rays can kind of twist and turn and go wherever they go. Like right now, they're really the 2 guys the Red Sox can trust is Hansel Robles and Ryan Brazier. Again, Matt Barnes is still broken. I don't know what's going on with him, but yeah, like they don't really have too many, and I think even Ottavino has been struggling lately. So Whitlock too. He just came back from the IL. So that's the last thing. Eovaldi and Whitlock, 2 guys the Yankees let go too. So
Yep.
I think the Rays find a way to get big outs. I think the Red Sox struggle.
Yeah, should be a very interesting series starting tomorrow night. But we'll go rapid fire with all the other series, and we'll start with the other American League series with the White Sox and the Astros. And in my opinion, I feel like these are the 2 most complete teams in the American League because I think the White Sox got they have a lot of potential in the lineup. But I think that they have had injuries all year. But I think their lineup is really good with Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez. They got a really, really good lineup. I think their rotation is probably the best in the American League with, Rondon, Lynn, Giolito, Cease. I think their rotation is the best in the American League. But the Astros, as we know, they have been the class of the American League since 2017. They've been the class of the AL. Their lineup is outstanding. We all know, as Yankee and Red Sox fans, we all know the names of all those players in the lineup. I don't need to tell you those. The starting pitching is the weakness, but it's decent, and the bullpen is really good too. So I think this is a close, competitive series with 2 managers. And talk about analytics all you want. You got Dusty Baker and you got Tony La Russa. You want these analytic guys? No, you have 2 actual baseball managers going at it in this series. 2 old school managers, 2 Hall of Fame managers going back and forth. But at the end of the day, I feel like I can never go against the Astros because of their experience. Houston's experience, I think, takes over, and I got the Astros winning this series in 5 games. But Justin, the question is the White Sox pitching enough for them to overtake the Astros?
I think it's very possible. I think, Rendon, I know, been on the IL last few weeks, but, they said kind of more just kind of resting him, not throwing pressure on him. Lance Lynn's been postseason baseball. I know Keuchel didn't come out of the bullpen, but I know he hasn't been great this year, but he's another guy that knows how to get big outs in the postseason. Like, that could be a valuable guy in the back end because Kimbrel too, Kimbrel's been a guy that has struggled in the postseason. Hendrick's been good. So they're going to need big outs because last year they jumped on the A's last year, 1-0 the wild card. And then they lost the last 2 games. They couldn't figure out a way to close them out. So I think with the Astros lineup, during the regular season had the lowest strikeout rates in in Major League Baseball. So it's tough to strike those guys out. That lineup has so much, postseason kind of at bats and so I think it's a tough lineup to navigate against. And then, I think they have enough guys, but I just think, as you mentioned, the experience, like the Astros have gone the ALCS 4 times in a row. I don't, I love to pick the White Sox. I love in year 1 to see La Russa win a World Series just to kind of, give it to all the analytical guys out there hey, you don't need an analytical guy to win a World Series, but I have to pick the Astros though in 5 games. I just the experience of the Astros though, I just can't see them losing. I think the White Sox are close, but I think the Astros are a bad matchup just for postseason baseball with all the success they've had.
Moving on to the National League, we got the wild card game, the NL wild card game tonight with the Cardinals and the Dodgers. The winner advances to face the Giants in the first round. But in this game, a lot of people are talking about how hot the Cardinals are. Max Scherzer, best pitcher in baseball, he ain't losing this game. Max Scherzer is not losing this game tonight. I know I think having a 1-game playoff, but in my opinion, Max Scherzer is not losing this game tonight. Dodgers got clearly the better team with their lineup. Obviously, they might have Muncy might be out, but with Trey Turner, with Justin Turner, with Corey Seager, their line with Will Smith, their lineup is really, really good. And they've obviously got Scherzer. They got their ace going tonight. Cardinals, really, if you can neutralize Arenado, you can neutralize Goldschmidt, you can neutralize O'Neill, you should be fine. I know Wainwright's had a great year at his age. That's been a real surprise this year. But I feel like this is going to be a Dodgers win. I feel like it's going to be like a 5-0, 5-1 Dodgers win. But Justin, can the Cardinals stay hot and upset the Dodgers?
I think it could be possible. Yeah, I know. Look, you got Wainwright. Wainwright's going to give it his all tonight. I know he's more of a contact pitcher, and the Cardinals are one of the best fielding percentage teams in the league. So I think, he can go deep in this game if he's getting a lot of first pitch outs, second pitch. If he's not going to have to go deep in games or deep in this game tonight. But yeah, since Scherzer's been a Dodger, he's 10-0. He hasn't lost a start. So
I bet the Padres are regretting not getting him at the trade deadline.
Yeah, absolutely. And you wonder if Bauer, nothing happened to Bauer. He's probably in San Diego, Scherzer. If they don't lose Bauer, he probably is.
Yeah, because they had Buehler and the guy who won 20 games from Urios. Yeah, they had enough pitching, but I think the Bauer thing really pushed them to get Scherzer.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Padres didn't do as much as they could to get him, but it is what it is, and Padres searching for answers for next year. But yeah, Scherzer has been a huge acquisition for him. He's looked like the best pitcher in baseball since they've gotten him. And again, I don't see Max Scherzer losing a start like this, even though I think Wainwright's going to give it his all. And I think he keeps his team into it. But yeah, like Goldsmith's had a great second half, but Arenado's a great hitter, but Dylan Carlson has been on fire lately. I just don't see the Cardinals having enough offense to knock off the LA Dodgers tonight.
Last series, obviously the winner of this series plays the Giants starting Friday night. Last series in the National League, which starts Friday, we got the Braves and the Brewers. And I think Devin Williams' injury is going to make a difference. Could very easily make a difference in this series. I don't think the Brewers' bullpen is as good, and they had a clear advantage over the Braves in the bullpen. The lineup, I give the Braves obviously the advantage. With Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley's had a really good year. They went out and got Adam Duvall at the trade deadline, but the starting pitching is definitely better for the Brewers with Corbin Burns, with Peralta, and with Brandon Woodruff. The starting pitching for the Brewers. I think this is another 5-game series. I think this is a really close, competitive series. But in the end, I'm going to go with the team with the better rotation and the team that has home field advantage. I'm going to go with the Brewers over the Braves in 5. But Justin, can the Braves offense hit the Brewers starting pitching for them to get to the NLCS for the second year in a row?
The Braves lineup, it's been like Austin Riley's played like MVP type guy in the second half of the year. Ozzie Albies as well. He's over 100 RBIs. Adam Duvall, 38 home runs this year for a guy that was really nobody really knew his name. Freddie Freeman starting to get it going. He got his average up to 300. Didn't look like for a while he was gonna be able to do that. So like the Braves have the lineup to hit these guys. And, they got Charlie Moore in on the mound game one. That's, that guy's been in a lot of big games as well. So I think the Braves can hang around, but their lineup went cold last year. Those 2 games against the Reds, they scored 1 run. I know they got the ALCS. I know they got their NLCS last year, but their bats are kind of going after that. But the Braves pitching staff's really, really good. Before Devin Williams' injury, I had the Brewers going to the World Series. I don't think that's going to happen now. I still think they get past the series because, yes, I think the Brewers bullpen is still a little bit better than the Braves bullpen. Yeah, I think the Braves lineup could win them the series, but again, with those 3, Woodruff, Burns, and Peralta, I just see that those 3 locking them up enough, and the Brewers being able to advance in 5 games.
Yeah, I definitely can see that happening too. So we got breaking news in the NFL, but before we talk about that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
The Giants are running New York like the Times as Danny is dropping all sorts of dimes. Saquon's thighs are ruining defenses' lives and Leonard Williams making opposing QBs feel him. Receivers think it's scary to line up across James Bradbury, and the Giants have a bright future led by Coach Judge, Jury, and Executioner. Tune in to Drawing About the G-Men every Wednesday at 6, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Yeah, that is Drawing About the G-Men. Make sure you check that out tonight at 6 o'clock. But we got breaking news in the NFL, and the New England Patriots traded their star cornerback, Stephon Gilmore, who is on the physically unable to perform list right now, to the Carolina Panthers for a 2023 6th-round pick. And right now, honestly, this is Bill Belichick getting rid of another talented player and making this Patriots team worse. I mean, I know they at least they got some sort of value, but for Stephon Gilmore, the reigning defensive player of the year, I don't think this is enough value for him. This is definitely not enough value. I mean, you could get a 1st or 2nd round pick for Stephon Gilmore. And just imagine, in 2019, you had Brady and Gilmore. Brady, obviously, you let walk. And then you got nothing. Obviously, you got nothing back because he was a free agent. It's Gilmore, you only get a 6th round pick. So for those 2 players, those 2 game. I mean, a quarterback and a stud corner, those are game changers. You only got a 6th round pick for those 2 players combined. I would have waited to do this until like week 8 and maybe, saw what kind of value, see if you can get better value for Gilmore. They trade him to the Panthers. I think obviously this is obviously a big pickup for the Panthers. I think it's definitely going to help them with them losing J.C. Horn. I think this is definitely going to help them be a wild card team. And of course, Xander, who's a Cowboys fan, said, I would have loved him in Dallas. Oh, great move. Would have been a great move to have him in Dallas. Trayvon Diggs, especially with that improved defense with Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs. That would have been a great move in Dallas. But I think that the Patriots wanted to find the team that was going to give. I think that I don't know if they would have given up for Stephon Gilmore, but and they probably would have given up more than a 6th round pick. So I think it's a mistake by the Patriots not trading him there, because I think Jerry probably would have given up more than a 6th round pick. But yeah, Patriots right now, they only get a 6th round pick for Stephon Gilmore, and being at 1-3. I mean, yes, it's going to clear up cap space because they don't have to re-sign him next year, but the talent on this team is lacking right now.
Absolutely. And going back to, I wanted, and I remember the trade rumors of him. Look, Gilmore's a phenomenal player. He's one of the best corners in the league. I want him New England. I wish Bill would just paid him his money and just, keep him here, but that's not Bill's way. And I understand, but I wish they traded him at the trade deadline last year, because you would have gotten more. You kind of knew things were not good. You knew he wasn't be here for the future. I wanted some extra draft picks last year, and I don't know why they didn't do it now. Do it then and keep them now. Because it's for a 6th round for 220. It's a 6th rounder. Like, it's not going to do it a lot, but not even to have it this year either. It ain't great, and I don't. It just you let Brady walk. You also kind of just I know Gronk retired, but like then you let him. He unretires and then goes to the Buccaneers. Like you've let 3 really good players just kind of just walk. Would they get like a 4th rounder for Gronk too? So it's disappointing because 1-3, he'd be a huge help to this team right now. I know Jalen Mills played really well Sunday. I know the secondary but the Saints, they didn't look good. Houston should be okay this week, but next week in Dallas, again, that could be get ugly with their wide receivers. So Gilmore's one of the best. 2 years ago, he's Defensive Player of the Year. So again, it's such a huge loss, and the Patriots play the Panthers, I believe, week 9. So
and that might be Gilmore's first game. That might be Gilmore because he's still not healthy and he hasn't practiced since last year.
Week 6, I believe, comes out the
he's off the PUP list, but I think it's going to take until like week 8 or week 9 for him to get on the field. But I think if he's the same guy, if Gilmore is that same guy that he was in New England, I think this Panther team is going to could very easily get a wild card spot. And then now the pressure is completely on Sam Darnold because now you've got a top 10 defense. Now with Stephon Gilmore, if he's as good as he was 2 years ago or close to as good, now you got a top 10 defense. You're Sam Darnold. You got to get this Panthers team to the playoffs. You got to win 10 games and get a wild card spot if you want to be the future quarterback here because this team. Is now. This is kind of a bargain that they got Gilmore for a 6th round pick, but this team is getting better around. Just pressure's on Sam Darnold now to get this Panthers team to the playoffs.
Absolutely. I know. So far, I look good. I know Sunday was a little bump in the road, but the scheme that they've had, like I totally forgot he could actually be a mobile quarterback because it just never used him like that. So The Panthers are using him, well. He's leading the league in rushing yards, I believe, in rushing touchdowns. And I heard McCaffrey's back at practice today, so he's probably another week away. You're going to get the top running back in the league back very soon to help him out too. So now it's really on Sam Darnold. He's looked good, but you add a guy like Gilmore, and they're blitzing 41% of the time, the Panthers. So to get more help in the back end of your secondary, I think it's a huge piece to be able to add Gilmore.
Yeah, and he's still pound up Sander, and he hit the nail on the head. That's what they got for him, a 6th. Come on, Dallas would have given him. Absolutely, I completely agree there. Yeah. I don't know what New England. Honestly, this is going back with New England for a bad drafting. All the way back to 2018 when they passed on Nick Chubb. Now and then they obviously win the Super Bowl that the next year, but then they pass on DK Metcalf and AJ Brown and draft N'Keal Harry, and that's probably the move that drove Brady out of New England. That sent Brady away after 2019, and now they're hoping they got to hope Mac Jones is the guy. But the problem is if you can't put, I think Mac Jones is one of those quarterbacks. If you can't put enough talent around him, I don't know how great he's going to be in this league. How many games he's going to win in this league? And now Stephon Gilmore. He holds out this year. He's on the physically unable to breathe on the PUP list. And then they trade him and they get a 6th round pick. Yeah, they didn't release him outright, but a 6th round pick? As I said earlier, Brady, you didn't re-sign him. You got nothing. Gilmore, 6th round pick. They were so crucial to you being 12-4 in 2019. Your 2 best players, and now you got nothing for them. You're 6th round pick. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty much nothing. I don't think we're going to find another Brady in that pick or, Brady-esque pick in the 6th round again. That's very rare to come by. But, and it's Bill's way, and I get it. But you can't – it's like Bill's trying to be the smartest guy in the room, and my way is going to work.
Yeah, but the problem is, we go back to when he cut Lawyer Malloy in 2003. It worked then because obviously you had Rodney Harrison and you had Tom Brady. Yeah, obviously getting rid of Richard Seymour in 2000 and after in 2009. Yeah, it worked because you had Tom Brady. All these moves, getting rid of Seymour, getting rid of Malloy, getting rid of Chandler Jones, getting rid of Chandler Jones in beginning of the 2016 season, getting rid of Jamie Collins. All those moves worked because you had a great quarterback. You don't know how great Chandler Jones is going to be. You don't know how great Mac Jones is going to be. You don't know if he's going to be able to cover up those deficiencies. You got to stop, stop your way of getting rid of you got to stop getting rid of players and getting rid of talented players if you don't have a great quarterback. And for years Brady was in that from 2003 to 2003. Since 2003, Brady's been a top 5 quarterback. So he was able to cover up mistakes that Belichick made in personnel. He can't make those mistakes anymore. and it's definitely shown up over the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, absolutely, it has. You have the talent around, and he went on the big free agency spree, but it's like, offensively, it hasn't made. Matthew Judon has been unbelievable.
Judon's been the good player. Judon's been the good player. But really, outside of that, no one really has impressed me.
No, Hunter Henry had a nice game Sunday night, but Bourne made a couple nice catches. But it's like, okay, that's nice, but I guess we still lost, and I know we'll get to it. But yeah, you're still sitting here 1-3 right now, so I just it's disappointing. And yeah, look, I think we've shown signs that Mac can be a good quarterback in this league, but yeah, you're never having another Tom Brady to be able to mask everything up. It's impossible. And I don't know what he's trying to do right now, because it's concerning.
Yeah, it's very concerning, very concerning. But we'll get to the team. We'll get to the game this Sunday as the Patriots go to Houston to face the Texans. And I think this is a game where they should get their running game back with Damian Harris. I think Mac Jones, he doesn't really need to do a lot in this game. Just like the Jets game, all I think he's going to have to do is manage this game. I feel like Belichick's going to confuse Davis Mills and force 2 or 3 turnovers. And I got the Patriots winning this game. And I got them winning this game handily. This is the get-right week for the Patriots. This is the get-right week for the Patriots before they got to play the Cowboys at home next week. This is the get-right week. This is the get-right game for the Pats. I got them beating the Texans 27-17. And Justin, I assume you got the same as well. No, 27-7. I mean, my bad. And I assume you got the same as well, Justin.
Yeah, I got it 24-13. I think Texans will score some points in this game, but not enough. I like the way Mac Jones played Sunday night. Again, he would have been the third quarterback only since I think I forget, it was 1970 to have negative rushing yards, but to win a game, it's and I forget the other 2 quarterbacks who won it, but again, I thought he played well on a big night against Brady. I thought he got hit 14 times. He cannot keep getting hit like this, or he's not going to last, and we're going to have to watch Brian Hoyer the last few weeks. So hopefully, offensively, yeah, we could kind of figure it out against a weak Texans defense. But last year we played awful against Texans. I know they had Deshaun Watson, but we couldn't do anything last year against the Texans. I think we lost what? It was 27-4. It was
27-20. 27-20. I remember that game. Right, because you came off that Ravens. It was kind of similar because you came off that Ravens win in the rain, where nobody expected you to win. Now you came off a game in the rain that nobody expected you to really compete in, and then you went to Houston and played the Texans. So it's kind of similar situation from last year.
No, actually, yeah, absolutely it is, and it's a very weird spot because they usually don't. I don't know. Last year they didn't play well, and I think they got the late touchdown too. They made it a little bit, respectable, but yeah, they didn't play well. So hopefully this time they play a lot better. They should be able to take care of business. And I'm not happy. I forgot to bring this. I'm not happy with Bill either that they kicked the field goal there. Let Matt go for it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. I mean, that's another bad in-game decision by Belichick. That was definitely a bad in-game decision by Belichick. You cannot take the ball out of. He was playing well. You can't take the ball out of his hands. If you believe in him to be your guy, you got to go for it there. You You can't let your ego get in the way and say, "Oh, I don't want Mac Jones to throw an incompletion," and I want Nick Folk to be the one, to lose the game, missing the field goal. I don't want Mac Jones to throw an incompletion. That's how the game ends. You got to do what puts you in the best position to win. And kicking the field goal there did not put the Patriots in the best position to win. Going for it is what would have put the Patriots in the best position to win. So Belichick had a great scheme for Brady. I'll give him that. But that was a bad in-game decision by Bill Belichick there, not taking the ball out of Mac Jones' hands.
Absolutely, because it's what is he not showing you? What's holding you back? Because again, he looked good again. Again, you couldn't run the ball. You had to be one-dimensional, and he still kept you guys in it. Now the defense was phenomenal. I will say that, but I know it's a weak defense. But again, he played well. He gave you a chance to win. It's let him kind of show you what he can do. Again, he wasn't happy 2 weeks ago with the McDaniels play call in the red zone. He kind of voiced his frustration a little bit. I don't blame him. I don't think he did this week against Bill. He didn't, but again, and Nick Folk's been good. Folk's been good. So I'm not, Folk's been a good kicker for us. He single-handedly beat the Jets last year for us in that Monday night game. Without him, we lose that game. But in the rain, he's got his plant leg's been bugging him, but I guess it's 2 inches to the right, and we're not having this conversation. But still, you got to put the ball in Mac Jones' hand there. They played well. Again, go after Sherman, run like a little slant route, but I don't get it. I think this team's going to improve. I think they're going to be better. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but they're going to get better. I really, again, it was another positive sign that I think Mac Jones is going to be okay, and I think he's going to be our guy. But another game, again, they could very easily right now be 3-1, and things should be a lot differently right now because if they don't fumble against the Dolphins week 1 either, they're in field goal range.
I think they really could could build off this performance against Tampa Bay. And if you look at their upcoming schedule, they got 2 very easy wins. They got Houston this week, obviously. Then Dallas, and I still think Dallas is overrated. I think that's a win. That's a winnable game at home against the Cowboys. And then you got the Jets, which they should win. And then it gets difficult after that. But so they very easily could build off this. And I think, call me crazy, I think they could win 3 in a row because I have a tough time seeing them going 0-4 at home and losing that Dallas game. So I think they could. I think if they play really well this week against Houston, if they play really well against Dallas, they could win that game, and then I think they'll beat the Jets. I think they very easily could win the next 3 games. The Patriots.
I could see it. They should win Sunday. They should win. They should beat the Jets in 2 weekends. Yeah, I could see it being the Cowboys. I wonder I know our secondary played better against Tampa Bay, but I'm just worried it's going to be the team that showed up against the Saints. Yeah, I can't see them going 0-4. I can't at home, but again, this Dallas team is potent, and I can't see.
We got a comment from him. Early hot take. I don't care, and I don't care. LOL. Mac Jones will never be an elite quarterback. They won't win a Super Bowl with Mac Jones at quarterback. That's going to all depend on what Bill does and what Bill does, how they put players around him. Right now, there isn't on the offensive side of the ball. There isn't a great team around him. And then obviously they made their team worse on defense, trading Stephon Gilmore. So the roster, it's an average roster right now. So we'll see. And listen, I think Mac Jones. I don't think Mac Jones, and I agree with Sander. I don't think he's going to be an elite quarterback, but I do feel like he could, with a good roster and great coaching, if Belichick remains the head coach, and I think you could win a Super Bowl with him. I think you could. I agree with him that he's not going to be like a top 5 quarterback in the league, but I think he's got potential to be a top 10 quarterback in the league because of how good he is at the line of scrimmage and the coaching he's going to get. Yeah, absolutely. I think I think he can be a pretty good quarterback. Again, I see some Brady-esque things in him. Like, I'm not trying to call him, the next Brady or anything, but the way he commands guys at the line of scrimmage, he's been good. I'll stop with that comment, please. Stop with that comment. Mac Jones had a better team at Bama than he does in New England. Stop with that comment. You're comparing professional football to college football. Just stop with that, please. You don't compare college teams to pro teams. Stop with that. I know the Patriots don't have great NFL players, but they're still professional football players. So stop with that comment. Max, Sander, we appreciate you commenting on the show, but come on, stop with that.
Yeah, it's tough to compare NFL to college. I know Alabama had an NFL team last year, but the NFL weapons, are a bit better. But I know going up into NFL talent, but it's you can't really compare NFL to college. But yeah, like I at the line of scrimmage, his worth ethic, he's like the last guy out of that building every night. He controls a huddle. Like I see qualities in him that you kind of saw in Brady. Again, it's still very young. He's getting, he's still learning and all that. But there's things I see where he could lead a team if we do get enough around him, if we do build something. Again, he's with Saban. He knows how to win games. Bill's gonna help him get even better. So I see some qualities in him that he can be a good quarterback at this level, and he can win a Super Bowl if he has enough around him. But again, it all depends on the coaching he gets and the team that he has. So, I think he can be a really successful quarterback, and he can win a Super Bowl at this level.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But we got to move on to the big game in Dallas. Before we do that, we got to talk about Jalen Smith a little bit. We'll quickly talk about Jalen Smith. Cowboys released Jalen Smith. And I actually think it's funny how we live in an era where we rip the Patriots for their moves and we praise the Cowboys. But I actually think this is a good move for the Cowboys because his play has definitely declined since 2018. He had I think for what he was getting paid, I think the Cowboys, saved some cap space. Now they could eventually pay Micah Parsons. They could pay a Trayvon Diggs. They could even, I don't know if they're going to pay Van Der Esch. Maybe they could pay Van Der Esch. So I actually like this move for the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's on a bad move. Yeah, because you got some young talent right now. Yeah, Diggs leading the league right now in interception. Vander, he's been good if he could stay healthy. So far, he has. Hope he continue. Micah Parsons he's been a beast early on, and I think quicker than a lot of people. A little bit quicker than people thought. But yeah, he's been great. Parsons been great. So yeah, I don't. Jalen Smith, yeah, save some money. The defense is improving, so his plays decline. So continue to get some younger guys in there. So yeah, I don't mind the move for the Cowboys at all. So yeah, I don't mind the Cowboys releasing them.
Now we go to the game. We got Hector listening. We got Xander listening. We got Giants and Cowboys. Feel free to comment on who you got in this game. We got a big matchup in the NFC East between the Giants and the Cowboys. And I think people that think that that the Cowboys are gonna blow them out, they're not. I think last week the Giants proved their offense could be solid. I mean, Kenny Golladay had a big week last week. Saquon Barkley had a big week at the end last week. I think this is going to be a really, really, really close competitive game. I think, though, the biggest issue with the Giants is they had trouble stopping the run last week with Alvin Kamara. They let Alvin Kamara run for 120 yards. And the thing is you're not facing Jameis Winston this week. You're facing Dak Prescott, and like the first three possessions there were like 3 or 4 possessions where the Saints crossed the 50-yard line and didn't score any points. That's not going to happen this week. Dallas is going to control the clock. They're going to run the ball well with Ezekiel Elliott. They're going to run the ball well with Tony Pollard. And I think Dak's going to get the ball to Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. I think they're going to score in the 30s. But I do think the Giants are going to hang with them. I think that Saquon Barkley, you saw him run between the tackles. You saw him run hard and run between the tackles last week. Saquon Barkley started to. I think you're feeling like he's coming back. He's getting back. He's finding his form. I think he has a really good week. I think Daniel Jones is another good game. Getting the ball. We don't know if Sterling Shepard's going to play, but I think him and Kenny Golladay are finding that connection. Finding a connection there. I think Kenny Golladay has a good week. I think the Giants make plays on this Cowboys secondary, which I know Trayvon Diggs is good, but it's still very suspect. This Cowboy defense is improved. It's not. It's with Parsons and Diggs. It's not great. Last week they were up 36-14, and in the blink of an eye, it was 36-28, and they still are 31st in the league in passing yards allowed. So I think this Cowboys defense obviously improved, but I still don't think it's an above average defense at best. I think the Giants move the ball on them. I think this is a close competitive game, but I think it comes right down to the end where either the Cowboys are either three things happen. Dak Prescott is trying to engineer a game-winning drive, and he does. The Cowboys are up late and they close the game out on offense with their running game, or Daniel Jones has the ball at the end, and the Cowboys, which they've done really well this year with Dan Quinn as defensive coordinator, they force a turnover. That's why I got the Cowboys beating the Giants 31-27 and going to 4-1. But Justin, can Daniel Jones keep up with Dak Prescott for the Giants to get their second straight win?
I think they can, but I do have Dallas winning this game 27-23 at home. Again, I think they could score some points. I hope Jason Garrett kind of continues with those deep routes. They hit a nice one to John Ross last week. Barkley had a big play for a touchdown. I hope they keep trying to go through, with their explosive plays, because that's why they got him. And I think Jones has shown you that he can be a good quarterback. Last week he threw his first interception, but it was the end of half.
It doesn't count.
No harm, no foul.
That pick does not count at all.
Yeah, it's a no harm, no foul play. So he's protected the football, which was one of his biggest issues. So I hope they take shots against the secondary. I think Barkley could have a big day. Yeah, he's looked really good lately, and I even thought the first few weeks, cutting wise, he's looked good too. But yeah, I guess the explosiveness wasn't there. I think with the old line, too had a part of it, but I think Dallas does find a way to get this thing at home, just because the Giants defense at a big spot, late in the first half, you guys went up 7-0. The defense couldn't get that late stop. I think I could see something like that where a big, Giants go up or something, and the defense can't get a shutdown drive there, and Dallas comes back and gets a win.
You made a good point about the defense. Yeah, every game this year, the Bronco game, give up touchdown before the half. The Washington game, give up a touchdown before the half. The Atlanta game, give up a touchdown before the half. And then this game, every game they've given up a touchdown before the half. That's been the difference this year. This Giant defense is definitely worse than it was last season. The offense has improved, but the defense is worse. They lost Blake Martinez, Leonard Williams, and James Bradbury just have not been as good. They're still, Ojulari has some sacks. They're still trying to find a consistent edge rusher. The defense just has definitely not been as good this year, and that's a big reason why the Giants are 1-3, because in the Washington game and in the Atlanta game, they couldn't make that big stop. So this defense just isn't as good this year. That's why if the defense was better, I'd pick them to win this game. But the defense I think the defense is right now it's average at best, and that's why I got the Cowboys winning this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. I think, it's average at best. It just, you thought there was going to be a lot more, and there's going to be that jump. It's second year Patrick Graham. It really hasn't. I know losing Blake Martinez is a huge loss. Is Jalen Smith a possibility for the Giants? It maybe could be, but who knows?
And Xander says the Cowboys are going to walk right through them. You're going to be very surprised, Xander, what happens on Sunday. This Giants team is going to score some points on the Cowboys. The Cowboys might win, but it's going to be a close game. Dallas is not walking right through them. But we got to get to the Thursday night game between the Rams and the Seahawks, and I think this is going to be another really fun, competitive game. I think Wilson and Stafford will both have really, really good games. I think that the Rams will have success running the ball with Henderson and Michelle. I think Seattle will have success running the ball with Chris Carson. I think this is a really close, competitive game. But in this game, I am going to take the better quarterback, and I'm going to take the quarterback that's going to make more plays and less mistakes. And I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to go with the Seahawks beating the Rams on Thursday night, 30-27. But Justin, can Stafford bounce back from a bad performance last week and get the Rams a big road win in the division?
I think they can. I don't know what happened to them last week. They're just coming off the Tampa win. They really struggled. I think this is a week they get their running game going, and Stafford is always good against play action. If he can open up, use it. If they can, be able to incorporate play action, they'll get their running game going against this weak Seattle defense. I think, they'll be able to control the time of the clock. I think Van Jefferson has an explosive play late in this game. I think Stafford plays really, really well. I think they keep Seattle off the field. Seattle still last week only had about 250 yards of offense. The Niners kind of, a couple of turnovers, short field for the Seahawks. They took advantage. I think the Seahawks still have some questions to answer offensively, and they're not there yet. Thursday night's weird, so I would not be surprised the Seahawks win this game, but I'm going to take the Rams to get this one on the road.
Now we're going to go to our best bets this week. I'm 1-2 on the season. I lost with the Jaguars and Bengals and the Pats and the Bucks, and I won with the Chiefs and the Eagles. You were 1-2, but you were so close to being 2-1. You lost with Washington and the Falcons. that JD McKissick play. You were that close to being 2-1. You lost with the Bucks and the Pats, and you won with the Chargers and the Raiders. So my best bets this week, I got the Titans -4 over the Jaguars. I mean, we'll get to it later with the Urban Meyer situation. Absolutely pathetic. He might be gone after this week. I mean, he is not fit to be an NFL head coach. And I think the Titans are going to get the run. And who knows? I don't even care if Jones and AJ Brown play this week. I think they're going to Henry's going to run the ball over the Jaguars defense. I think Tannehill's going to throw a couple touchdowns, and I definitely have them covering that spread. They're a 4-point favorite. I definitely got them covering that spread. Second game for me, the Browns. I think right now the Browns got the best roster in football. And then they're an underdog against the Chargers. They're getting points. When you got the best roster in football getting points, you take it. I got the Browns +1.5 over the Chargers, and on the Sunday night game with the Bills, I think the Bills right now are the best team, might arguably be the best team in football. I think they learn from their mistakes. I think they run the ball better. Their defense is better. They're going to learn from their mistakes from what happened against the Chiefs. I think they're going to be able to run the ball against the Chiefs. I think they're going to be able to, contain Mahomes. I think they're going to learn from what happened last year. And I think they're going to get a huge win on Sunday night. I have them winning the game outright, and I got them covering the spread against the Chiefs. Justin, your best bets.
Yes, this week I got the Carolina Panthers at home against the Eagles at 3.5. I think the Panthers right now, I think they're a better team. I think defensively, I think they'll give Jalen Hurts a lot of problems. I think they'll score some points, but I like the Panthers to win the game at home. I think Chuba Hubbard has a big game on the ground. I think Sam Darnold, has a rushing touchdown or two. I really like the way this Panther team is playing right now, so I'm going to take them. And then I'm going to take the Cardinals too. I can't believe I'm taking Cliff Kingsbury, but again, they've been playing really good football. The Niners, I don't know who's going to play quarterback. If Garoppolo's going to be healthy or not, or Trey Lance did not look ready. I think even if Garoppolo plays, I don't think he'll be healthy. I think the Cardinals are going to get after him. I think it'll be a tough day for the Niners to score many points in this game. So I get the Cardinals at 5.5, and then I have the same pick as you. I have the Bills 2.5. I know the Bills really haven't played anybody since week 1 against the Steelers, but they've been blowing people out. And Josh Allen hasn't even played his best football yet.
But as Joe says, it doesn't matter who you face. They've been so dominant that you got to say they're one of the best teams in the league. Ever since week 1, they've been probably the best team in the league. They won 35-0. They won 40-0. They won 43-21. As Joe says, it doesn't matter who you face if you're that dominant.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, they have been dominant in every game they played. So I think we're finding a lot about this weekend. But again, I can't trust the Chiefs. I think the Bills' defenses. I trust the Bills' defense to get us out more than the Chiefs do in a tight game. So I think Josh Allen's gonna have a huge day, and I like the Bills winning the game outright against the Kansas City Chiefs Sunday night.
Alrighty, we'll get to the slate of games, and we'll start with a matchup in Tampa. We got the Battle of Florida as the 1-3 Dolphins travel up to Tampa to face the 3-1 Buccaneers, and I think this is an easy one for the Bucs. I think the Bucs found their running game last week with Leonard Fournette. That was the one positive I feel like that came out of the game last week for the Bucs. They found their running game. I think Brady throws 2 or 3 touchdown passes. I feel like the defense gets pressure on Jacoby Brissett. Of course, Brissett to make a mistake. Dolphins will be without Will Fuller. I got the Bucs going to 4-1 with a 31-13 win over the Dolphins. Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah, I got 27-13 Tampa Bay. I think it may be a slow start out of the gate for the Bucs coming off, the win last week in New England. So I think Miami keeps it interesting, for a little bit. But I think Brissett can move the ball big against his weak secondary, the Bucs. But obviously just not enough against Tom Brady. And Tampa Bay should be able to score pretty easily in this game. I'll take Tampa Bay to win by 2 scores.
We got the game in London between the Jets and the Falcons, and I think this is a really close competitive game between these two teams. I think both defenses will get pressure. I think the Jets will obviously get more pressure on Ryan than the Falcons will on Wilson. But I think both these quarterbacks make a mistake. I think both these defenses force a turnover. But I am going to take the better quarterback in this game. I know Zach Wilson played well last week, but I do think he turns the ball over once or twice in this game. I do think Ryan turns the ball over once, but he's the better quarterback. He'll make less mistakes. That's why I got Atlanta going to 2-3, being the Jets. I got them winning that game 23-19. But Justin, can Zach Wilson play well again for the Jets to win their second in a row?
I think he will. And, one of the reasons why, too, I picked him, Robert Saleh was with the Jaguars for 3 years. So he kind of knows what it's like to go out to London. So I feel like, too, he's going to have the team ready to go because it's such a weird adjustment. Again, I think it showed if you give Zach Wilson some time, he's going to make some big plays, some really nice plays. Again, I think he'd be able to do that Sunday against a very bad Atlanta defense. I don't know why. I should have known to pick them on a best bet. I should have known, even though they're, but I think Zach Wilson to make some big plays at Corey Davis. He had a big game. They're probably not going to run the ball very well, but I'm going to take Zach Wilson to get a win. And the Jets would be 2-3. It's, I guess pretty remarkable for where they were about a week ago talking about them.
Absolutely. We got an NFC matchup in Carolina as the 1-3 Eagles face the 3-1 Panthers. And in this game, I feel like this Panthers defense is gonna contain Jalen Hurts. I think they're gonna force a turnover from Jalen Hurts. I think Sam Darnold is gonna manage this game. I think this is definitely a major coaching matchup with Matt Rule going up against Nick Sirianni. I got the Panthers winning this game because of their defense and because Darnold won't turn the ball over. I got the Panthers 23-13 over the Eagles. And Justin, I know this was one of your best bets, and you had the Panthers as well.
Yeah, the Panthers 28-20. I think Darnold be able to do enough game manager. Hubbard big day kind of bounce back. So yeah, I got the Panthers at home. The Eagles. 6 red zone trips last week? They had 3 touchdowns out of it. It's got to be more. I don't see them being able to move the ball like they did against last week against Kansas City.
We have an AFC matchup in Pittsburgh as the Broncos head to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers. And I think this is a close defensive struggle. But at the end of the day, I think the reason Denver's going to win this game because they're going to be the team that runs the ball better than the Steelers. The Steelers can't run the ball. They can't protect the quarterback, and Big Ben is done. I think this is a really, really close, competitive, low-scoring game. But I got the Broncos going to 4-1, and I got them beating the Steelers 17-13. But Justin, can this Steelers defense carry them to a win, to their second win?
I think it's very possible if Drew Lock's a starter. We've seen he's made a lot of mistakes in his starts, and I think they're going to be able to get after him. I think the Steelers defense to be able to get after him, and I think if it Lock, I think he makes 2 to 3 turnovers, and I think Pittsburgh in a short field. I think they do enough, but it's a totally different team, the Steelers, with TJ Watt and without him. They kind of showed to get pressure without him. He's got 5 sacks in the year already, so if he's in there, I think Pittsburgh does enough against Denver, especially Drew Lock's in there. If it ends up being Teddy, I do think Denver wins this game, but if not, I'm gonna take Pittsburgh because I think Drew Lock will make too many mistakes in this game.
We got the Packers heading to Cincinnati to face the Bengals. I think this is going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be a close, competitive, back-and-forth game. I think Joe Burrow is going to play well. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to play well. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the better coach team, and I'm going to go with the team with the better quarterback. And I got the Packers winning 27-23 over the Bengals. But, Justin, can Joe Burrow carry the Bengals to an upset victory over the Packers?
I could see it. Packers are kind of banged up right now, but I don't see him being able to take out Aaron Rodgers, not being able to beat Aaron Rodgers though. Again, this would be Cincinnati. Best offense they've faced so far. They've played well. Being at 3-1, I think it's surprised a lot of people. But again, you're facing a different animal, Aaron Rodgers. I think Burrow is going to have some success through the air in this game, but Joe Mixon's a decent running back. I just don't think he's going to be able to outduel Aaron Rodgers enough in this game to get a win.
We have an NFC North matchup in Minnesota as the 0-4 Lions face the 1-3 Vikings, 2 desperate teams here. But I think the with the injuries the Lions have on the offensive line, I think the Vikings win this game, and I think they win it by a couple scores. I think Dalvin Cook has a good game. I think Justin Jefferson has a good game. I think Kirk Cousins, even though the Vikings have been losing, he continues to play well. And I think for the Lions, I think Goff competes in this game. They're going to have trouble protecting him. I feel like they're going to have trouble running the ball. That's why I got the Vikings winning it by 2 scores. I got the Vikings beating the Lions 31-17. But, Justin, can Jared Goff outplay Kirk Cousins for the Lions to get their first win?
It's going to be difficult. As you mentioned, they're missing a couple offensive linemen in this game. I think Minnesota's going to be able to get pressure on them. I think I could see him having some success running the football, but I think it'd be tough without a couple of offensive linemen in there. I have the Vikings win this game 28-20. I think the Lions find a way to keep this thing interesting. It's a division game. I think they keep this thing close. I think Goff, makes enough plays to kind of try to keep his team into it. But I think he's going to get sacked a few times, and I think without because they're often the Lions, when healthy, it hasn't been horrible. That's been like the strength of their team. So I just don't see him being able to do enough here against the Vikings to get a win.
Got an AFC South matchup in Jacksonville. We really don't need to talk about the game. I think we both know the Titans are going to win. I got them winning at 31-16, and this was one of my best bets. And I think, Justin, you agree with me. I think the biggest story is the Urban Meyer thing. I think the Urban Meyer thing is disgraceful. It's despicable. I think he needs to be fired. How do you not? I mean, you had the inappropriate video, but then how do you not travel home on the team plane? You're going to lose your locker room right there. I feel like Urban Meyer he's now lost the Jaguars locker room. I think if Jones and Brown play, it's going to be even worse this week. I think this is going to be a week where Urban Meyer very easily could get fired. I know he apologized to the team, but I think Urban Meyer's lost the locker room. And the sad part about it is I thought he was kind of regaining their trust. I mean, they were competitive against Arizona. They last week they battled right to the end against Cincinnati. But I think I think Meyer's starting to lose trust. I think this locker room is not trusting Urban Meyer right now. And it all started with the strength coach he hired, which was a terrible hire. Brings in Tebow, and then it's like strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, and strike 3 means you're out. Urban Meyer should be out of a job after this game, and that's why I got the Titans beating the Jaguars 31-16. Justin, I bet you agree.
Yeah, I had it originally 31-21, but after all this came out, after I texted you my score, I have this game out like 31-17. I think Jaguars will score some points, but yeah, this is nothing new with Urban Meyer. College, it was kind of hidden because he was winning, and the boosters and the admissions, they keep it hush hush. Again, you look at the guys he had at Florida the year with Tebow. Tebow tried helping out, Aaron Hernandez down there. And Tebow, after like a week, said, "There's no helping this guy." Again, he's had issues at Ohio State. He's had issues at Florida. This is nothing really new. It's been hush hush. And I know the rumors are out there, the USC job. USC, I don't think USC is going to hire him. I don't think USC wants somebody. USC needs to keep their nose clean. Urban Meyer's not going to do that. So Urban Meyer may want the USC job, but I don't see USC wanting him right now because I think it leads to them having some more off the field issues. So I think Urban Meyer has lost that locker room right now, and it sounded like after the meeting, like they were kind of like laughing at him, like again, I think I don't know how he regains their trust, and he was kind of lying. Like one of the players too today said, it was today or last night I saw, because Urban said he addressed the whole team yesterday. He said no. The player said no. He addressed us all in positional group meetings. Like he didn't address all of it. It was like all just positional guys. So he's kind of lying. That's his nickname is Urban Liar. It just it's bad.
It's terrible. It's terrible, and it just showed you he just was not ready for the pro game. I thought the advantage he had was he would know the college talent coming in, and so that would help him. But his first round pick is, instead of picking a defensive player when your defense is terrible, he takes Travis Etienne. Then obviously the issue with the strength coach, then Tebow, and now this. It's just, to me, I think after this week it's over for him. It's over.
I could see it. I really could. Especially if they get beat and they're not competitive and it just looks bad. I really think so. And Jacksonville's not and they go to London next week, so I don't think they want to carry all those problems, because they're gonna have to answer what's going on over there. So it would look bad for the league too if this is what we're talking about when there's a football game going over there. So yeah, I could really see this happening.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you there. I completely agree. We have an NFC matchup in Washington as the Saints take on the Washington football team. And I think this is a close, competitive game. But I think it's going to be really close. But I do think the difference in this game is going to be Alvin Kamara, because I feel like Marshawn Lattimore didn't do a great job last week on Kenny Galladay. I mean, I don't know why Dennis Allen didn't have him traveling with Kenny Galladay, especially late in the game. Who's that corner from Stanford? Who they have? They had him on Galladay late in the game. And that on that 3rd and 7, Galladay had that huge play to get the Giants in field goal range. I feel like Lattimore though is gonna do a good job with containing Terry McLaurin. I feel like they're not. Paulson Aladi. Thanks, Jace. Yeah, we know Jace gets that knowing the Pac-12 there. Yeah, but yeah, I think they're gonna have. I think Lattimore's gonna do a good job containing McLaurin. I think they're gonna be able to contain the run game. I think the run game is going to be the difference, because I think they're going to be able to shut down Antonio Gibson in the run game. That's going to force, I think, a turnover from Taylor Heineke. And I do think Winston might turn the ball over, but I do think the Saints are going to run the ball better. And that's why I got the Saints winning this game. And that's why I got the Saints going to 3-2, winning 23-17 over the Washington football team. But Justin, can Taylor Heineke outplay Jameis Winston for the Washington football team to get their 3rd win?
It's going to be difficult because of Washington defense. I think the Saints are going to put up some points. I had the Saints win this game 24-20. I think, the Saints have already forced 8 turnovers. Heineke's really got to protect the ball. You mentioned, too, they've been great against the run, the Saints. So I think they're going to probably have to be one-dimensional. And I think the Saints are going to be able to do enough to kind of slow that down and do enough. And I think Jameis Winston's going to make enough plays to knock off Taylor Heineke in this the Saints are going to be able to knock off Washington and win this game. I got 24-20. I don't think Heineke can do enough.
Got an NFC West matchup in Arizona as the 49ers face the Cardinals. And the 49ers don't really know who's going to be starting at quarterback. They might not have Trent Williams. They might not have George Kittle. That's why I think the Cardinals win this game. And I think they win this game handedly. I think Kyler Murray is another big game. 49ers defense is good, but it's not what it was 2 years ago. I think the Cardinals get into the 30s. I think if Trey Lance turns the ball over once or twice. And I got the Cardinals going to 5-0, winning 30-17 over the Niners. And Justin, I know you got the Cardinals because it's one of your best bets.
Yeah, Cardinals 30-20. As I mentioned, I don't know who's playing quarterback. We saw Trey Lance isn't really healthy yet. Arizona right now is on fire. Murray's playing on a different level right now. I think San Francisco is going to have a hard time slowing them down, especially if it's Trey Lance out there playing.
We got an interconference matchup in Vegas as the Raiders take on the Bears. And right now, Matt Nagy, they're saying they prefer Justin Fields over Andy Dalton. Who knows what's going on there with the quarterback situation? They got David Montgomery out. I do think the Bears defense keeps them in this game, But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the better quarterback. I'm going to go with the Raiders to go to 4-1 and beat the Bears 20-13. But Justin, can the Bears defense carry them to an upset win?
I can see it with their defense. If they can get enough pressure on Derek Carr like the Chargers did, where he was just running for his life, I could see the Raiders having a chance to knock the Bears having a chance to knock these guys off. I picked the Raiders this game 24-17. They're certainly good enough defensively. I think, Justin Fields going to be able to move the ball a bit, but again, they just still don't have a ton of talent around them. I know last week the Lions had made so many mistakes in the red zone and just, in general. And, he looked pretty good last week in a win, but I think it's still I think the potential's there for Fields still, but I think the Bears defense keeps them in it, but I just don't think their offense could do enough still to be able to win this game. And I got the Raiders 24-17.
Browns and Chargers. Justin, this was one of your best bets. You had the Chargers. No, that's my bad. This is one of my best bets. I had the Browns winning this game over the Chargers. Again, best roster in the league. And when they're getting points, I'm taking them. And I think in this game, they're going to be able to run the ball in the Chargers. And I do think Herbert will play well, but I think the Browns defense, who's improved this year, is going to make a big play at the end of this game for the Browns to go to 4-1. But Justin, can Justin Herbert continue to stay hot to give the Chargers their third straight win?
I'm going with the Chargers this game, 27-24. I think I may pick the game a little bit too high scoring, but I think I didn't really like what I saw and I know the Browns defense, the line reminds me of like that the Niners defense line 2 years ago. They're just game wreckers, and I could really see them wrecking this game and kind of winning on the road. But Baker last week I thought missed way too many guys.
Baker was horrible last week. A lot of quarterbacks could be the quarterback of this team and win games. A lot of quarterbacks can. Baker right now, I know they're 3-1. He's not proving that he's a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm taking against him. I like Herbert right now better than Cleveland. And, the one worry I have with this game for the Chargers, they've been outscored 35-3 in the third quarter. But I think this is going to be a huge test for the offensive line, for the Chargers offensive line. I think they do enough. And I think Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, make enough plays for Justin Herbert, and I think the Chargers move to 4-1.
Yeah. I think I don't think they're going to do it, but I could very easily see them doing it. We got the Sunday night game. Yes, we've talked about this as our best bets. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it but the Sunday night game, I feel like we got to talk about it again with the Bills and the Chiefs. The reason I think the Bills are going to win is they're going to learn from their mistakes. They're going to run it with Singletary. They're going to run it with Moss. I think they're going to get over 100 yards on the ground. I feel like Josh Allen's going to throw a couple touchdowns. And I think their defense is going to contain Patrick Mahomes. And that's obviously why I got the Bills going to 4-1 and getting a huge win. And if they can win this game, they're on track to be the number one seed in the AFC. If the Chiefs lose this game, you know for sure they're going to be going to Buffalo in the playoffs. Yeah,
absolutely. I got the Bills 34-31. I said it, the Eagles had 6 trips to red zone last week. And no offense to the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, but if they're going 6 times, how are you going to slow down this Bills offense? I just don't see it. This Kansas City defense is worse than it has been the last 2 years. I know we've mentioned it, but I just see Josh Allen making enough big plays. And I think Bills defense can come up with a stop. I trust them more than the Chiefs defense at the moment. I think they're throw the ball, do whatever they want offensively. 34-31 Bills.
Monday night game with the Ravens and the Colts. I think in this game, I think that the Ravens defense, the Colts offensive line has struggled so far this year with Quentin Nelson out and Eric Fisher not playing up to potential. I feel like that the Ravens defense is getting pressure on Carson Wentz, force a couple mistakes. And I think I'm going to go with the better quarterback. I think Lamar Jackson's going to make less mistakes in this game. I think it'll be a close competitive game because I think the Colts defense will play well. But I got the Ravens winning on Monday night. I got the Ravens beating the Colts 24-17. But Justin, can the Colts defense and Carson Wentz carry them to their second straight win?
It's going to be tough. I have Baltimore win this game 23-17. I think the Colts defense can slow them down a bit, but I think Lamar's going to make enough plays in this game to be able to carry them. The Colts are so banged up too right now that I just see it to a hard time being able to stop them. And then on the offensive side with Carson Wentz, I think they're going to be able to move the ball against, again, Baltimore, they're depleted right now, especially on the back end. So I think they'll score some points. The Colts will score some points in this game. I just don't think it's enough. And I think Lamar controls the ball long enough and in that Ravens offense to kind of keep them off, the Colts offense off the field enough to win this game 23-17.
All righty, we got a top 5 matchup in college football. But before we talk about that, we got a promo from Clovercrest Media.
The college football season is coming back, and we got you covered on every game. We're breaking it down on each snap all season long. Catch us every week starting on August 4th. Joe McGuire, Sean Scanlon, Jace Garcia, and yours truly, Obi Muniz, giving you the highlights, predictions, and current rankings. Visit our website at hhwshow.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's All Four Downs, part of the CMG Sports Podcast Network.
That is All Four Downs. Check them out every Thursday. Jace, Ovi, and Sean will be breaking down Week 6 of the college football season. So make sure you check that out Thursday night at 7:00. But we got to we got to preview Week 6 of the college football season, and we'll start with the Red River rivalry as number 6 Oklahoma faces number 21 Texas. I think Oklahoma's going to win how they've been winning all year, close and ugly. I think this is going to be a close, competitive, ugly game. I think Bijan Robinson will get a decent amount of yards on the ground. I don't think he'll have a great game. I think Rattler will make plays, but I think he'll make mistakes. I think it's a close, competitive game, but I feel like Oklahoma's been pulling these games out all year, and I don't think it's going to be anything different on Sunday afternoon. I got Oklahoma winning 27-24 over Texas. But, Justin, can the Longhorns pull the upset and pretty much end Oklahoma's college football playoff hopes?
There's a chance. The last 7 regular season meetings, it's been a one-possession game. We saw that classic last year, the 4-overtime game. I thought Oklahoma looked better last week. Again, they're nowhere near perfect of where we thought they were, but I thought Rattler played well especially against the blitz. Kansas State really took away the deep ball threat, and he kind of just took what the defense gave to him. And I think that's the way Texas is going to probably play their defense. I'm not entirely sure, but I think Spencer Rattler makes enough plays in this game. They're nowhere near perfect, but for Texas, I thought I thought TCU had 3 turnovers. I thought TCU made a lot of mistakes. Texas took advantage and won the game, but I thought it was nowhere near close if TCU kind of played a better game. Bijan Robinson had 34 carries last week. I kind of worry about his workload if he's going to keep getting the ball that much. But Oklahoma is not allowed a rusher so far to go over 100 yards rushing this year, so it'll be interesting. Deuce Vaughn killed him. He had 100 receiving yards. I think he only had 75 rushing yards, but he killed him, on the screen game, the next Darren Sproles. But Casey Thompson, both their guys have been playing well for Texas, but I'm going to take Oklahoma. I think they're still the better team right now than Texas. I know Oklahoma's been struggling, but until somebody really knocks them off, Oklahoma's still the best team in the Big 12, and I think they find a way to get it done Saturday afternoon.
2 4-1 teams in Columbus, Maryland, and Ohio State, and this should be a blowout. I think C.J. Stroud is going to get the ball to Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. I think it's going to be a complete blowout. Two his brothers going to throw 5 interceptions last week. I think he throws a couple this week. I got Ohio State win this game by 30. I got to win this game, I'd say by 30, 35 points. I got Ohio State big over Maryland.
Yeah, me too. I got 45-20. Ohio State should win this game. Ohio State in the the last 6 meetings, I think they've won by a margin of 36 points. So this thing has
the one close game was that Dwayne Haskins year, that overtime game against Maryland. I think it was the one time that game was close.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think Maryland's kept it close to any other point in their time. I think Ohio State's another team that's starting to really gain their footing. C.J. Stroud's been playing well. The 3 running backs Ohio State have been tearing it up. Talik Williams, he's got 4 sacks in the Oregon game, the freshman defensive lineman. And Ohio State's got 3 pick sixes in 3 straight games. So I think Ohio State's starting to get it going here, and I think they should be all over Maryland. Maryland really showed. They thought they missed a lot of tackles too against Iowa last week. 7 turnovers doesn't help you, but it was bad. And I think Ohio State should blow them out big.
We got a Big Ten matchup in Piscataway between undefeated Michigan State and Rutgers, who has 2 losses now. But I think both these coaches are changing the cultures. Mel Tucker's done a really good job this year at Michigan State. Greg Schiano, Rutgers is not a pushover anymore, because you saw they gave Michigan a game a couple weeks ago. And I think it's going to be the same, just like the Michigan game. This is going to be a close, competitive, low-scoring game. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with the number 11 team in the country, Michigan State, to stay undefeated, beating Rutgers. I'm going to say 20-17.
Yeah, I got Michigan State as well, 28-20. I think they will keep it close, but Rutgers, I know last week they were out of the game early. They threw a pick six very early. It was 14-0, a blink of an eye, and then Ohio State made it 24-0. It was over pretty much by the first quarter. Rutgers didn't stand a chance. They've been competitive, Rutgers. I like Schiano. I think he's going to do another good job there, getting them somewhat competitive. Again, it's the Big Ten East. They're never going to get to Indianapolis and play for the title, but
they need to switch. They need to switch. I know the travel is it would be tough, but they need to switch leagues. They need to switch leagues, Rutgers.
They do, but they're getting $60 million though.
Yeah.
You're saying switch divisions? Oh yeah. Oh
switch
yeah.
Yeah. They need to switch divisions.
They'd probably be
that would help them with Schiano. They would be competitive in the other division.
Oh, absolutely. They're probably like the third. They're probably better than half those teams over in the West. So yeah, they probably have a chance right now. Nebraska's the best team over in that division right now. So. Michigan State, they got the best player in the field, Kenneth Walker. I think he's going to be able to rack up a lot of yards. Payne Thorson playing well at the Michigan State quarterback, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. I think Rutgers does keep it close, but I'm going to trust Michigan State to go on the road and win this one. Revenge game, too. Rutgers did beat them last year, so revenge game for the Spartans.
We got a matchup of two teams that lost big last week to Georgia and Alabama. We got Arkansas going to Ole Miss, and I think Ole Miss wins this game. I think they got the better quarterback with Matt Corral. They got the better head coach. I got Ole Miss winning this game by double digits, bouncing back after they lost to Alabama.
I get Arkansas. I'm going Arkansas.
Wow.
Again, Lane Kiffin really scared me last.
I feel like Arkansas is overrated. I think they're an overrated team. I think they beat Texas. I get it. And they beat Texas A&M with a backup quarterback, but I think they're overrated. I think Arkansas is overrated. I don't think that. I think they lose it by double digits. I think they're an overrated team, Arkansas, right now.
Georgia's built like an NFL, like that up front. Those front seven are going to be all NFL. The problem with Arkansas right now is that was a matchup of men versus boys, and Arkansas just was not ready. Again, what Sam Pittman doing is unbelievable. I think this team's good. I think physically they're going to be able to hang in there with Ole Miss. I think they're going to be able to run all over Ole Miss. Again, I could not – I think the worst thing for Lane Kiffin was having that bye 2 weeks ago before Alabama because, again, he's just – they didn't really take any shots. Again, all the fourth down. He was playing a video game. Yeah, he's playing PlayStation. Never punting last week. But I like Arkansas. I think they're the better team. I think Arkansas defense is like Alabama. It's going to be stingy. I think they're going to be physical up front with Ole Miss. And I think Arkansas wins this game. I can't trust. I thought Lane Kiffin was starting to kind of turn this thing around and thought he learned his lesson, but not after last week. He just poked the bear, and I've fallen off that train. So I'm going to take Sam Pittman and go on the road and get a win, 35-31.
You called NC State 2 weeks ago, so I got confidence that you'll call this one with Arkansas. Right. But we got to get to a huge game in the SEC between Auburn and Georgia. Georgia heads to Auburn in a huge, huge game. I feel like Bo Nix, I know that LSU doesn't have Derek Stingley, but I feel like Bo Nix grew up last week. He was down 9 in a hostile environment, and he came back and won that game at LSU. But this week the Georgia defense is just another animal. I feel like Bo Nix will score some points. I do feel like Auburn will cover because they're at home. But I got Georgia because their defense is just too tough. Their defense is so good. Clearly the best defense in the country. That's why I got Georgia beating Auburn. I got them beating Auburn 27-14. But Justin, can Bo Nix pull off a crazy upset at home? Could Bo Nix pull this upset?
I don't think so. This Georgia defense they've only given up 1 touchdown all year on defense. Just one.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. And the last time they've had back-to-back shutouts in the SEC was 1980. The last time they won the national championship. So things are starting to – and I said this back in week 1 we were talking about, even though I picked Clemson week 1, which I'm really regretting. But I said the one thing that's going to hold Georgia back from winning the national championship game their national championship this year is Kirby Smart. And it is. This team is so talented, and they're starting to get some of their offensive weapons back. So
are they going to get Pickens back soon?
I think they're hoping maybe November-ish, somewhere around there. So that will be huge for them if they can get him back by then. Again, I think they'll be okay till probably the colossal Alabama-Georgia game in the SEC championship. Probably, about 2 months. But I think it's 23-7 Georgia. Bo has not turned the ball over yet. He played well last week on the road at LSU. LSU, I know we'll get to them. I have a lot to say on the Tigers, but. Yep. Yeah, I just don't think Bo is going to be able to do enough. This is just an absolute animal Georgia defense. I can't wait to Georgia Alabama at the SEC championship game. That I can't wait because That's what we have. These two teams are just on a different level.
They're clearly the two best teams in the country.
Yeah, and you can pick. After that, it's pretty much a toss-up between but you go through like Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Iowa. But yeah, I Georgia's on a different level. No way Auburn really gets more than a touchdown in this game.
Speaking of Penn State and Iowa, they play this week. Number 3 Penn State goes to number 4 Iowa. I think this is going to be a competitive game. I feel like a clash in styles. Iowa's going to want to run the football with Tyler Goodson behind that offensive line, and Penn State they'll want to run the ball, but they're definitely going to want to throw the ball too on that Iowa secondary with Javon Dotson. With Javon Dotson, who's had a really, really good year with Parker Washington, they're going to want to throw the ball and with their tight ends. I feel like this is a really, really close competitive game, but I do feel like, and this is what Penn State's got to do to win it, I feel like Penn State's going to contain the running game. They're going to get enough rushing yards. And I think the difference in this game is going to be Javon Dotson. I feel like Javon Dotson's going to make plays. He's the best athlete on the field. I think he's going to make I think he's going to have a couple touchdowns in this game from Sean Clifford. I feel like Sean Clifford has played really, really well this season. He played really well against Auburn. Didn't play great against Wisconsin, but he played really well against Auburn. I think he plays really well in this game. And I think he keeps Penn State undefeated. I think they win it 24-20. And Penn State, they need this game because both teams could afford to lose this game because it's not a divisional game. And if Penn State beats Ohio State and Michigan, they'd still be in the driver's seat to get to the Big Ten championship game. But this is still a huge, huge game for both these teams. I think Iowa, if they win this game, they're going to go undefeated because that conference is not even close to the West is not even close to the East in the Big Ten. So if Iowa wins this game, I think they're going to stay number 3 and go undefeated. And they'll definitely be in the Big Ten championship game. But I think this is a close competitive game. But I got my Nittany Lions beating Iowa 24-20.
I got Penn State 21-20. So you don't think Scott Frost can pull it off on Black Friday, knocking off the Hawkeyes?
No. He shouldn't have a job, Scott Frost. Come on now. We'll get to that.
We'll be very interested to hear that pick coming up if we want to take in that game. But I think for Penn State, Sean Clifford's played well so far. If Penn State has more than 2 turnovers, no shot they win this game. Because I was turnover margin is +12. Penn State's been good too at +6, but Iowa takes is really good at kind of capital. Their offense is great at capitalizing off the short field. They did that a ton last week against Maryland. They hit some big plays. Just because Maryland just could not tackle. And I think Sean Clifford makes enough plays in this game. Yeah, I think Penn State, they weren't great slowing down Auburn, but I thought they did enough because I thought, again, Wisconsin kind of showed up, but they've been struggling to everybody they face so far. And Penn State's been living the big plays too. They don't have to really worry about this against Iowa, but I think they make enough plays against Spencer Petras too. Again, he's not a guy that can throw for 350, 400, top built that way. So I think too, Penn State can get a lead and Iowa's got to throw the ball. They're not built like that. And I think he makes a couple mistakes and Penn State wins this game.
Yeah, I think the biggest key for Penn State is they got to run the ball a little bit and they got to contain the running game for Iowa. For Iowa, they got to be able to run the football. I feel like if Iowa can't run the football, I know they're at home, but they're going to have a lot of problems winning this game. So Penn State, it's get the run game going and contain the run game of Iowa. For Iowa, they got to get the run game going completely because if they can't, they're going to have trouble keeping up with Sean Clifford and Javon Dotson.
Yeah, absolutely. They will. They as you mentioned, they don't have the explosive weapons. That's not really, they don't recruit that way. They don't have those guys really much ever. So yeah, if Penn State could hit some big plays, they could protect the football. I think protecting the football is if Clifford does not make the mistakes, and he really hasn't this year. He's been good. He's been a lot better. But yeah, if he makes those big mistakes, Penn State's in trouble. He doesn't. Yeah, Penn State should win this game.
Biggest game of Sean Clifford's career. I know he was undefeated against Minnesota 2 years ago, but this is the biggest game of Sean Clifford's career.
Yeah, no, it is. This is a big one because this would be a nice one to go on the road. Because especially you got to go to Ohio State too. So it is. This is really. I think this shows too of this offense is really it's changed. It's changed in that they fixed Sean Clifford and that he could be a good quarterback and be an elite level at the Big Ten level.
Absolutely. We'll go to another Big Ten game, Michigan and Nebraska. Here's what I can't figure out. Why is Michigan only a 3-point favorite? This isn't 1997. I think Michigan's getting disrespected here, being a 3-point favorite at Nebraska. Nebraska's not a good team. They lost to Illinois earlier in the season. Scott Frost, I feel like, is not a good coach. They're 3-3. I know they almost beat Michigan State and they almost beat Oklahoma, but I don't get why Michigan is only a 3.5. They should be at least a touchdown favorite in this game, and I think they win this game. And I think they win this game in double digits. I feel like Michigan's being disrespected. Jim Harbaugh is being disrespected. I'm going with the better coach team. I got Michigan by 10 over Nebraska.
I got Nebraska. I'm going the
come on. Come on.
Look, they've been playing better. He's starting to run the ball with Adrian Martinez. He's over. I think he's just under 400 rushing yards now.
But can you run the ball with Adrian Martinez against Michigan's defense? You got to be able. He's got to be able to throw. He's got to be able to throw the ball. And who's their running back? How's their running game? How's their running back? How's their running game?
It's okay. I think it does enough. Again, Nebraska's rushing defense. They've 56 carries in the last 2 games, only like 108 yards. They're only allowing like just over like a yard a game, or a yard per play. So I think they can do enough. I think Scott Frost, they're getting better. That's the thing. This team's getting better. It's the special teams that have killed them. And that's what I'm worried about, special teams. Like they gave up a late punt return in that game, but Michigan State it went to OT and all that. But again, I don't think Michigan's really. They couldn't really run the ball. Last few weeks.
Yeah, but they beat up. They've had one close game all year. Michigan. It was the Rutgers game. They crushed Wisconsin. They crushed Washington. You've been down on Michigan all year. You picked them to lose to Washington.
Yeah, well, I thought Washington would be a lot better than they were, but I kind of fell for Washington there. But yeah, look, I don't trust. I don't, again, they beat Wisconsin, but again, that kind of got lopsided. There's turnovers, like short field. They haven't faced an offense yet in the top 60. Nebraska is. Like, they really haven't seen anybody offensively like this. I think their defense is good, but I think this is a different level. I really do think that the Nebraska team getting better. I think they're the second best team in the Big Ten West. And I know that's probably not saying much with the state of the Big Ten West right now, but this team's getting better. They really are. I think Martinez is starting to play better. I'm going to take Nebraska at the home win. And that's another thing too. Is you talk about the line, that's so fishy too. They're telling Vegas wants you to bet Michigan, and then that's usually what happens. Bet Michigan, Nebraska pulls the upset, and Vegas living that life. That's usually what happens. I just think Nebraska's rushing defense does enough. I don't trust Caden McNair yet, even though he's played well. I haven't seen enough from him yet to really take him to go on the road on a Saturday night. And even with how bad Nebraska been, that play's gonna be rocking Saturday night. Don't bring out the black shirts though. Don't do that again. Like they did against Illinois last year. They gave up 45, but I think they do enough their defense to win this game.
We got an ACC matchup in Blacksburg as Notre Dame faces Virginia Tech, and if Virginia Tech could beat Sam Howell in North Carolina, I think they're not an ACC matchup. My bad. It's Notre Dame's not in the ACC this year. Yeah,
technically they're part of the ACC, but I guess not an actual conference game. But
yeah, that was my bad there. Not my bad there. But I think if Virginia Tech could beat North Carolina, I think they could beat Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's QB play is not good. They faced a good defense in Cincinnati. Jack Cohen struggled. I think they play another good defense in Virginia Tech. I think he struggles again. And I'm going with the Hokies. I'm going with the Hokies to get the upset and Notre Dame to get their second loss. But Justin, can Brian Kelly's team rebound this week?
It's going to be tough. I heard it's going to be very sloppy. This whole week down in Blacksburg, it's supposed to be raining Saturday. So that it's a grass field, so it's going to be sloppy. And in one of those type of games with all the rain, you got to take the more athletic quarterback, and that's Braxton Bearmeister with Virginia Tech Hokies. I think he do enough with his legs. Again, Virginia Tech's offense struggled. They scored 14 offense points in Richmond, and they only scored 21 points. They had a punt return for a touchdown as well. So their offense is really struggling right now. They've coming off a bye. Like every team seems like Notre Dame's got to face coming off a bye, but I think Bearmeister does enough plays with his legs. Jack Cohen, it's up in the air right now. Drew Pine played well coming off the bench in the second half. But if it's raining, like it's going to be Virginia Tech on a Saturday night, one of my favorite entrences in college football.
Sandstorm, awesome.
Yeah, that is great.
Awesome.
I can't bet against them here on a Saturday night. I'm going to take the Hokies to get this win. Big win for Justin Fuente too. This would be huge for him to keep his job.
We got an SEC matchup in Lexington as LSU faces Kentucky. And I know LSU is without Derek Stingley, and I know Kentucky's undefeated, but I just think LSU is the better team. I know Coach O is probably one of the worst coaches to win a national title, but I do think LSU is the better team. Will Levis, I know they won last week, but only completed 7 passes. He went 7 for 17. He threw for under 100 yards. Their defense and their special teams were a big reason why Kentucky won that game. So I'm going LSU close, in a close, low-scoring game. I'm going LSU. But, Justin, can Kentucky be undefeated going into the Georgia game next week?
I think they will. Now, I'm very worried. Kentucky's coming off their biggest win in probably 36 years knocking out Florida. But LSU, it's effort. It really is. It's effort. Back end, they can't stop anybody. They can't tackle. I think Chris Rodriguez, the Kentucky running back, runs for 200 yards plus. LSU right now, they're not physical up front on either side. They cannot run the ball at all. I think they're averaging like just over 2 yards a carry. And that's on LSU. And they're asking Max Johnson, who's been playing really well, but they're asking him to do too much. They haven't been great in the red zone. Again, to lose Saturday night when they kind of controlled most of that game the first half, to lose the way they did at home against Auburn, Saturday night game, that's valid. Like, they don't blow games like that. It's effort. And I'm very concerned about that LSU team. You know, that hot seat. He's being investigated too. So that seat's even warmer. And but for Kentucky, I think Will Levis does enough. I think they're going to be able to run the ball over LSU. I just think this team's kind of – I don't want to say quit because I don't think they've quit on them yet. But their effort is just pathetic. And I can't see them winning this game on the road. Even though Kentucky's coming off a big win, I just can't see. And then actually I'll tell you LSU's schedule of how difficult if they do not win this game, of how bad things could get. So they have Florida at home next week.
Wow.
Then at Ole Miss. Then a bye before going to Alabama, Arkansas at home.
Wow.
They should beat Monroe, and then Texas A&M at home, which they should get their starting quarterback by the last week of the year. So they lose this game. I don't know. I think they get the 5 wins max, maybe.
Yeah,
6.
They might not make a bowl game.
No, I would not be shocked. That's why this is a huge game for Ed Orgeron and his team, and I just don't see it. I don't like the way they're playing, and that's why I'm going with the Wildcats. Things are going to get out of control in Baton Rouge very soon.
We got Alabama facing Texas A&M a Saturday night. I don't know why CBS picked this game as the late game. I think Alabama wins this game by 4 or 5 scores. I think they win big over Texas A&M. Justin, you probably agree.
Yeah, they really regret putting this game on national TV. A&M, they want to run the football, but they can't do that. Zach Calzara, again, he's not a very good quarterback. Again, he has no time. Alabama should blow them up at the line of scrimmage. Alabama, 31 points in 31 consecutive games. That should move to 32 straight. Texas A&M invested a couple starters in the back end. So, in secondary, but I have Alabama win this game like 35-13. I just don't see it. And Jimbo Fisher already got an extension, but it's getting very they're not happy right now because I think so. Jimbo now is 28-12 through his first 40, and Kevin Sumlin was 29-11. So Kevin Sumlin had a better record through his first 40 games, and Jimbo got the extension. So Jimbo's a very good coach, but it ain't going very well so far at Texas A&M. They just just not there. They're gonna have some problems Saturday night.
Yeah, I definitely could see that happening. But that's going to wrap it up for Sports Talk with R&J. For our producer, Jace Garcia, did a great job. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about the baseball playoffs, Week 6 in the NFL season, and Week 7 in the college football season. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts. And including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Burn, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting ClovercrestMedia.com.